everyone. I want to talk about volunteerism today. Um, 2 days ago was International Volunteer Day, and it's obviously not a very well known kind of holiday at all, both to Americans or Armenians. But since Peace Corps did a lot of um, like coverage on it, I thought I would also chime in and talk about my thoughts on volunteerism and just some of my experiences as a Peace Corps volunteer here in Armenia. So, first, let me start off by saying, as a volunteer in Armenia, as part of Peace Corps, it's a little bit of a different kind of volunteer experience than what you might have back home. We're called volunteers because we don't make a salary. We do get like a living stipend so that we can live approximately around the same level of, you know, standard of living as Armenians. Um, but that being said, other volunteers back in the States might have a very different experience because you are volunteering in your own communities. But here, as a Peace Corps volunteer, I am put into a community kind of artificially and then sort of expected to learn how to become part of that community. And we call it integration, how to integrate and find my niche, so to speak, in my community, my assigned community. So I have been very fortunate that my integration has gone fairly well. Um, and I really like my community. I've had good experiences here. So I won't go into that too much, but I just wanted to mention that like volunteering as a Peace Corps volunteer and volunteering at your dog shelter back in the States is a very different kind of experience. Neither are bad, both are good, just very different. So when I was volunteering in the U.S., I volunteered at the library, public library. I volunteered at like an animal shelter. I, you know, did that kind of volunteering, which was fulfilling. And the best part was I got a lot of experience from it. And as a young person, experience is everything for, just like your employment and just like your life. Um, and I still think that like that kind of benefit is possible here as a Peace Corps volunteer. I'm learning every day. I'm learning a new language. I'm learning how to survive in a different culture, in a different country, in a very cold country, might I add. So, there are so many skills that I'm receiving. I'm not just giving out skills, I'm actually learning a lot from the people here, so I'm very grateful to my community for that. Um, so the first benefit of volunteering is you will gain a lot from it. Things that you may not have even known about or known that you wanted to learn about, you will learn as a volunteer, no matter what kind of volunteer job you're doing. I think the second benefit is that you are um, acting as a role model for others. Um, by being a volunteer, I've sparked curiosity in my students, and they now want to know, like, hey, what other kinds of jobs have you done, and like, tell us about your travels because you've obviously lived in multiple countries. So even though I may not be sparking my kids to automatically want to volunteer, I'm getting them to think internationally. I'm getting them to think about more than just their life in the village, more than just the day-to-day, mundane activities. So it's cool to see kids like starting to be more interested, and not just kids, like adults too, because I have adult English class. Um, they want to talk to tourists. So like me volunteering my time has sparked that cultural exchange between me and a group of Armenians. So it's like they're learning more about my country, I'm learning more about Armenia, about Armenian culture, Armenian language. So yeah, I'm acting as like a role model, but also as a community member. Like I said before, I'm getting something out of it, and so are they. but I'm also acting as like a catalyst for other people to want to volunteer or, travel, experience new things. So that's really cool. And then I would say also, uh, like, uh, integration is super important. Being part of your community is super important. And any kind of volunteering that you do will help you be known in your community in a positive light. Like, if I walk dogs every day for the Humane Society, um, like, all the people, all the staff there will eventually know me. And then, you know, I've already made more friends doing that. Or, like, if I work in a soup kitchen and I help cook food for homeless folks, um, that's so many people that I can meet. So volunteering is a great way to expand your community, meet new people, meet new friends, learn something new, a new skill, a new talent. So when I came to Armenia, I left a lot of my hobbies back in the States. Like, I couldn't bring an instrument with me. Um, and here I found new hobbies. Like, I started teaching like a couple dance classes here and there. Um, I just taught my 10th graders how to do line dancing, and I never really did much line dancing back in the States, just a couple times in college. But you kind of pick up a skill and then run with it. So volunteering is great for just trying new things and seeing what you like, what you don't like. So definitely recommend that. Um, I will say, like, it also, like, the next benefit of volunteering is just kind of like the warmth that it brings in your life. Like, you are forced to talk to other human beings and just be present with others, and that's really valuable, especially for me because I live alone. Um, it's very valuable to me to have people that I can talk with and interact with. It keeps me sane. So, just yesterday after my English club for adults, one of the gals, she invited me to her home, and she was like, "Do you want a cup of tea?" And then a cup of tea turned into, like, hanging out, talking about life, talking about, like, issues like marriage, having kids, like women's issues. We just talked and talked, and then her husband came home, and we all had dinner, and then we talked and talked and talked about, like, American culture, Armenian culture, Indian culture, and it was this great exchange. And, like, they were super grateful because both the husband and wife have come to my English club. They were like, we are so thankful that you're teaching us English, and, you know, you're the first volunteer in our village who's done that for adults. So it's really great. And, I do those English clubs for free. I don't take money for it, I don't take anything. And I never think, oh my gosh, I wish I had money so I could spend it on nice things. Because why don't these people pay me? No. Like, volunteering is doing something from the heart, purely for the sake of doing it. And purely, I do it because of moments like yesterday when that couple was really thankful and really sweet and took good care of me. Um, because that kind of experience, like, really enriches my service, and it makes me feel validated, and it makes me feel good about myself and what I'm doing with my life. So that's why I volunteer. Um, it sounds funny to say, like, oh, I need validation, but it's really more just like I feel warmth from other humans when I volunteer. When I do some work for my community, I feel like I am appreciated. I feel like what I'm doing is meaningful, and that's what drives me. So, yeah, I hope that this video convinces people to kind of go out of their comfort zone a little and try volunteering, even if it's just like picking up trash once a month in your park, or, going to an old folks home and talking to people for an hour. It's very meaningful, and people actually do notice what you're doing, even if they don't tell you. So, go out there, volunteer, and happy International Volunteer Day to all my fellow volunteers in the world.